Hello, everyone. This is Nairi from Low Carb and Fasting. Our guest today is a registered dietitian. She's a metabolic health specialist with 19 years of expertise in the prevention of chronic illnesses and reversal and finding root causes of most common chronic illnesses. She's, apart from having her own practice, she works as a coach for Professor Ben Bikman's Insulin IQ program. She's also the dietitian working with, we love her. I mean, she's our darling endocrinologist, Dr. Mariela Glandt. As if that wasn't enough, she's also one of the founding board members of the new American Diabetes Society. All of these links will be below, so check them out. Shannon Davis, welcome to Low Carb and Fasting.
It is my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. And like I mentioned before, I feel like I'm talking to a celebrity. I have so much respect for you. I follow your work on a daily basis, and what you put out there is just unbelievable.
Thank you so much. That's very kind of you, Shannon. Okay, so on this channel, I've had a few dietitians before, including actually a mutual friend, Michelle Hearn.
Yes, yes, we've gotten to be very good friends.
Yeah, so I've interviewed dietitians from the UK, from Australia, and of course your end of the woods. One common theme between all of them is that each one of them has had a personal story or something significant in their life that's shifted their direction from their classically trained sort of mentality, I guess, or dogma to something different, to looking at perhaps utilizing ketogenic diet as a therapeutic measure to reverse illnesses. What's your story, Shannon? What on earth happened in your life that woke you up? Because it takes something to make you realize that there is another way. There is a better way to address hypertension, type 2 diabetes, fatty liver disease. These are all reversible diseases in most cases. What happened? What's your story, Shannon?
Yeah. Well, thank you for asking. Well, like you mentioned, I've been a dietitian for 19 years. I spent about 3.5 years in organ transplant. We did liver, kidney, and pancreas. I spent about 1.5 years in bariatrics, and the rest of my career has been been in nephrology and dialysis. So throughout my whole career, I've watched people be chronically ill in pretty extreme to the extreme, and nobody got better. We got people when I was in organ transplant, we got people new organs, but then you would watch those organs get damaged due to the medication that they're on to prevent, rejection. So I've always been in a place where I felt something was off. It didn't settle right because people weren't getting better. They were existing and not thriving. And then my story in 2018, the man that I was with that I thought I was going to marry, we decided we wanted to start a family because at the time I was 38. We had already tried, well, let's go back a year to 37, not a spring chicken. And we tried a year on our own and nothing happened. I thought I was pretty healthy. I've never had a weight problem. I've been extremely lean most of my life. My blood pressure is always low. And I practiced exactly what I preached. Lots of fruits and vegetables, lots of whole grains, no fat, right? We didn't eat fat. I don't think a stick of butter was allowed in my house. And despite feeling like I was a pretty healthy person, I couldn't get pregnant. And so I was sent to a reproductive endocrinologist, and they did every test known to man. You have to rule out everything, completely healthy, passed with flying colors. Now, a side note, I've always had terrible cholesterol. Okay. To the fact that my doctor has tried to put me on a statin for 15 years, which I refused. I'm like, I'm not getting a statin. I'm super healthy. But very high LDL, like almost to 400, triglycerides, 500. Okay. I even got sent for a full cardiac workup, at Piedmont Heart Institute for women, with the cardiac calcium score, which was 0. But I just sort of, I don't know. I worried, but I thought I'm doing everything possible. I'm not taking a med. There's nothing I can do. I don't know why it's high. I don't eat fried foods. I don't eat fat. Why is it high? So moving forward, did a year of IVF, and which was, that's another story, but probably close to 1,000 injections on all kinds of hormones, and yet still couldn't get pregnant. And so I was like, this is not right. Like something's not right. Despite lots of prayers, lots of tears, and wondering what's wrong with me, I finally, after a year, was like, I'm going to take some time off. And then I'm super competitive. I'm like, go getter. And I'm like, whatever it takes, we'll do this again and again, inject, whatever. But I don't know. I just sort of came to the conclusion that, like, maybe it's not God's plan for me to have a baby, because there's no reason I shouldn't. So I found a book called Real Food for Pregnancy by Lily Nichols, because I thought, you know what? No one ever talked to me during this whole experience about nutrition or food. Now, I'm hoping it's because they knew, hey, this person looks super healthy and she's a dietitian. She's got this. But I didn't have it. I didn't have it. And so the book opened my eyes and I was blown away. No wonder my triglycerides were 500. No wonder all of my hormones were off. No wonder I was eating everything to make myself sick and not get better. So I took a heartbreak and turned it into a learning experience. And I went down the rabbit hole and was just blown away. And I was mad. I was mad as well as sad that no one had ever told me this, that I had been, injecting myself with all these nasty hormones, prescribed a statin that I never needed because of the food that, number one, I learned in school to tell people to eat this way. Now, shame on me that none of the people that I had ever worked with were getting better. I mean, it brought me to my knees. I like just was so emotional about myself, but also like, oh my gosh, all of these people that we as a medical community have said were non-compliant, that probably didn't do the things that, oh, they are not following your advice, because if they were, then their glucose would be better, or their triglycerides and cholesterol will come down. And never once did anybody take any accountability for, like, maybe it's the information we're giving them. And since that day, since 2018, my life has forever been different. I call myself a rogue dietitian. And I get a lot of, I get beat up a lot in the community from other dietitians. So does Michelle. So does some others, because they think we're wacko. Like, how dare you teach people to eat fat and beef and, a low carb diet? But it has changed my life. I fast every day. I don't do long-term fast because I'm extremely active, but I intermittent fast. I follow a low carb. I've done, I go in and out. I've done ketosis, been so low where I can get into ketosis like this because I'm so active, and I'm so metabolically flexible. I've done carnivore. I've done it all because I want to be able to speak it to my clients. So I need to be able to live it. But what's funny is now my hormones have never looked better. And my OB is like, "Are you sure you're not taking hormones?" I'm like, "No, ma'am." My cholesterol went from like, of course, we probably have the same mentality about LDL, but when it did come down from probably close to 400 to about 267. But here's the beautiful thing. My triglycerides went from 250 to 50. I mean, from 500 to 250. And then I kind of lived there, and I started some supplements that I found that I added into my already amazing lifestyle. And, I can tell you about those later if we want, but now my triglycerides are 50, and my HDL went from 53 to 122. And I eat the most amazing food. I feel amazing. I have no reflux. I have no brain fog. My energy's insane. And I have like put on more muscle eating this way than I've ever had in my life. I always feel like I'm scrawny, skinny, and that's not what I want. And because of this, I've been able to help, oh my gosh, hundreds of people. Like, the messages that I get sometimes make me cry, like, thank you for saving my life. I've been sick for 20 plus years and on a boatload of meds. No one ever told me what you told me. I had no idea. And the same principles that you teach, people are not just coming off meds, they're reversing what they thought was their identity, their lifelong pack that they would wear of being diabetic and with fatty liver or high cholesterol or on blood pressure meds, or even like I see CKD reversing on
Yes.
patients that thought they were destined to dialysis. And I just don't understand how more people are not teaching these protocols, or even just maybe they don't teach them, but being more open and receptive, because people are getting better.
I've noticed a slight shift, I think,
Yeah.
in in
Yes. Yeah.
in our providers. Certainly, there's more acceptance, but it's very slow. And I think the movement, I think, is more active at our end, at the bottom end, where
Yeah.
people are finding it out and thinking, ah, if they did it, maybe I can give it a go as well. And it's certainly growing. I mean, I like going back to my YouTube videos, and I haven't been on YouTube for a very long time, but maybe 3 years. Going to my very few YouTube videos, people were commenting, "What can you do this as a type 1 diabetic? Like, is this safe?" And now, when I talk about low carbohydrate diet and type 1 diabetes, especially, and we're very niche, but people are like, yeah, I know it can be done. And people are more receptive of it and
Yeah.
less scared. So I think, people are discovering about the low carb diet. We need more. We still have a lot more
Yeah.
talking and more reels for you to put out because they're quite educational online.
Well, I'm still embarrassed by some of those. I'm like, oh, but hey, you know what? If people would if people would focus on the message and less about, what's wrong with your eyes? What's wrong with your eyebrows? What's going on with your hair? I'm like, hello, number one, I'm 45 and I've never been an actress. So stop picking apart that. Can you just listen to the message? And it's like, my mom was telling me this morning, she goes, I was reading some of the comments on your videos and people are just mean. I'm like, welcome to social media.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you put yourself out there, and I haven't actually seen any mean comments, but I do admire your reels.
Yeah.
It takes courage to
Yeah.
create it, and it takes time. It takes
Yeah.
time. It takes time, and you're doing it to help people. And just as this YouTube video, right? I'm not making money out of this, and I can assure everyone here that Shannon isn't getting paid. I'm not paid
Oh,
for this
no.
appearance. So we're doing it to help people, to spread the message, and I mean, obviously it's people's choice, right? It's a choice.
Right.
You
Yeah.
can't make everyone
No.
entertain a low carb diet, but it is a choice. People are aware of it, and
Yeah.
that's what I want. I want people to be aware of it, that there is such a thing, that it's
Right.
possible to reverse type 2 diabetes. I'm really interested in how you got associated with the
Yeah,
American Diabetes Society. Okay, so let's
right,
talk about the American Diabetes Society. For my listeners, this is not the ADA that we all know. This is not the American Diabetes Association. This is a completely new organization, if you like. It's a nonprofit, right? Uh,
correct.
that's called American Diabetes Society, dedicated to Shannon. I'll leave this with you.
Yes. Um, thank you. So as you know, the American Diabetes Association has been around for quite some time. And unfortunately, the information that they put out there is still controlled, and they may not say this, but we know, by big food and big pharma. And their biggest supporters and sponsors are like Eli Lilly, who make insulin. Their recipes still are very, very carb heavy. I mean, oatmeal with brown sugar, berries, and orange juice is not what you would recommend for somebody that has a carb intolerance.
Yes.
And so the American Diabetes Society is led by Dr. Ken Berry, Dr. Eric Westman, Dr. Mariela Glandt, Dr. Tony Hampton, who's an obesity specialist up in New York, and then Dr. Ben Bikman, who's one of my dear friends and mentors. And then you have Michelle Hearn, you have Temple Stewart, you have Shanna Hussein, and you have me as the dietitians on there. Really, our goal and mission is to show people that diabetes reversal is a thing. It is 100% possible. And we do this through diet and lifestyle changes. Um, a low carb, whether you do low carb, and that means a different range for different people based on where you're at and your activity level. Ketogenic, carnivore diet, incorporating intermittent fasting, all these are different tools, but we have meal plans, we have recipes, and our voice is to be loud and tell people that you have a choice, you have an option. This is not your destiny, or your, identity is not a, hi, I'm Shannon, I'm a diabetic. No, ma'am. It's not that. It is, I can take control and power of my own health by following y'all, it's just real food. Medicine is not an answer for a dietary disease. It's a band-aid. And if you stay on the medicine, you're going to stay in the cycle of being chronically ill. And it's just a matter of time before one medicine becomes two medicines, becomes three medicines. And before you know it, you're like my dialysis patient. If you go on dialysis, which the two main causes of dialysis are diabetes and hypertension, or if you develop heart disease, which the number one cause of heart disease is type 2 diabetes, and now we know statins, which are the number one prescribed drug for the prevention of heart disease, actually causes diabetes, which is the number one cause of heart disease. How retarded is that? And so we're out to give the message and provide the information that anybody can do this. It doesn't matter your socioeconomic status. I mean, look at Dr. Mariela. We have OWNA Clinic that she came up with. Michelle and I, and now Shanna is part of that. We do on an everyday basis are teaching people with zero resources on a very limited very limited budget, on Medicaid, that may have to shop at food pantries. You know what? That does not matter. You can still reverse your diabetes. And we see it every day. And so we're trying to raise money. We are a nonprofit. So, but here's the thing, we're not taking any money from anybody. Any big food, any big pharma. No, ma'am. We only want clean, clean money from people that are altruistic about what we are trying to do and on the same mission. We actually have a big event. This is the perfect timing. August 13th, we're doing an all day live with all of us dietitians, all of the doctors, where people can chime in live and ask questions to try to raise money, sort of like a I don't know what you call those, but um, like
Like a
the
webinar?
yeah, yeah. It's going to be live and it's going to be broadcasted. So live stream, people can join and ask questions. And like I'm going on, I think mine's at 4 o'clock Eastern, me and Ben. So it's going to be an hour with me and Ben where you can come on and ask us anything. And you know, I know Michelle and Ken are going to be together. I think Temple and Tony, and I think Shanna and Mariela, and it's going to be amazing. So we're going to do like 4 or 5 hours and just blast information on how to reverse diabetes, you know, how to reverse insulin resistance through these amazing protocols that are that anybody has access to. And people actually save money by doing this. You're cutting down on I have a gentleman that I've worked with who was 426 pounds. He started intermittent fasting. He started a low carb diet. He started on the supplement protocol that I use. He's down 110 pounds in 6 months, and he came off 23 of 25 of his medications. He said that he saves $450 a month by following this lifestyle. It's amazing. It's amazing how just your life can be transformed. And it's not just diabetes. When you eat this way, gout, gone. Neuropathy, gone. Erectile dysfunction, PCOS, gone. You decrease your risk of dementia. Your fatty liver shrinks. Your brain fog gone. Mental illness vastly improves. It's profound how this one way of eating fixes so many things, yet nobody talks about it.
And type 1 diabetes related roller coaster blood sugars
Oh,
improve
absolutely.
massively. I can vouch for that.
Yeah. I mean, you see like the type ones that I work with, they're down about 40% in the amount of insulin that they use, which is profound. You can speak to that because many people don't know that a type 1 can also become type 2.
Yeah.
And we have to prevent that because you can get insulin resistance in the same way. And if we can teach people how to keep their glucagon controlled, which nobody talks about, right? Then they don't see those spikes and have to control it with insulin.
Yeah. Right. I know in your biography, Shannon, you also mentioned the importance of exercise because this is
Yeah,
a lifestyle change.
yeah.
So other than just changing your diet, you will benefit greatly if you engage in some form of exercise.
Oh,
Your
yes.
meals, I mean, you demonstrate what this sort of thing people can do, and I love them. Love it. I watched you doing
Well, thanks.
squats and the bench presses, and was it bench press? And I was like, wow,
It was I do snatches and pull-ups
yeah, all
and
sorts of things,
squats
which
and
is what I
yeah,
did this morning. I mean, I do it to keep myself strong
yeah.
because you see, frailty is something that really scares me. I don't want to be a frail old woman.
No. And muscle is our key to Dr. Lyons talks about all the time. It's our key to longevity.
Yeah.
Muscle, you know, is our biggest glucose sink. And you can vouch for that as a type 1 diabetic. Like I tell people all the time, the best thing and the simplest and most inexpensive thing that you can do is after you eat, move. And you don't have to go work out. Walk, do some air squats, dance in your living room, open those GLUT4 transporters without insulin, pull that glucose into the cell. And the more muscle you have, the lower your glucose is going to be, the stronger you're going to be. If you fall, you can protect yourself. But muscle is so extremely important. And people think of exercise. I wish we could help people change their view about exercise. It's been looked at for so long as a means to weight loss. Like, let me see how much I can go sweat and burn off calories. But if we could sort of like flip it and say exercise is something that like is a gift. And if we can exercise, that's something beautiful because it means our body's able enough to still do these things. But it should be almost like a form of therapy. It is for me. It's my drug. It helps clear my mind. It helps me be more productive. It sets the stage for my day. The more I move, the better I feel. I feel bad when I don't move. But if people could look at it as like, how can I make it, it helps me feel better. It's not a punishment. It's actually, a reward for our body to be able to move and to stay active is going to keep you the mobile for the rest of your life, if that
And
makes sense.
the exercise actually does kick in dopamine, and
Yes, yes, absolutely.
don't
I
work
mean,
out.
I come up with the best videos and the best, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna make a post on that when I'm exercising because it's like, you're right. You become creative. It makes you alert and yeah.
Yeah. So if you're type 1, um, obviously you have to be careful
Yeah.
with the kind of exercise that you're doing. So make sure if you're not wearing a CGM like I am, and most people are these days, but if you don't have one of these, keep checking your blood sugars because blood sugars can go either up or down. There's no
Yeah.
guarantees. I can actually do pretty much the same thing. One day it might go up, one day it might, and I've put it down, come to the conclusion that it must have something to do with how much stress
Yeah.
I'm putting in. I mean, I can lift 10 pounds, bench press, for example, 10 pounds on each side of the bar. I can do it today. My blood sugar might dip. I may do it tomorrow. My blood sugar. It must be related to the stress that's coming from within. Maybe I have no idea.
Yeah.
However, you're type 1. Make sure you're monitoring your blood sugars and make sure you treat, particularly your lows, with the necessary amount of glucose,
Yeah.
obviously, and then you're good to go. You don't have to say, "Hey, that's it. I'm done for the day
Yeah.
because I just have a low." Treat it.
Yeah.
Get on with your day.
Yeah. And what's interesting is I'm not diabetic, but I'll wear a CGM because I love to, I like to biohack myself, right? And to try different things and see. I always want to be as healthy as I can. And you just never know. But to me, it's always extremely surprising at how high my glucose spikes during a HIIT workout. Like you wouldn't, because I exercise fasting. And so I'm fasted, but it's crazy. Just like you said, I'm like, okay, I have been fasting. There's not a lot of, glucose in my system. It's all stored glycogen. But when I kick in some high intensity intervals, your glucose does go up. Now it comes down pretty quickly, but I have a lot of clients say, well, why is my glucose going up when I'm exercising? And I'm like, you're pulling out. It's a good thing. You've got all that stored glycogen from being, you know, hyperglycemic for most of your life. We've got to pull that out. You've got to pull that out. You got to utilize it. It's actually a beautiful thing.
Shannon, I'm going to come back to the low carb part of our conversation. So I've had Zoe Harcombe, Dr. Zoe
Yeah.
Harcombe from
Yep.
Wales here, and I've had obviously Britain's leading metabolic doctor, who is Dr. David Unwin. And to both of them, I asked, what is the definition of low carbohydrate diet for you? How would you define it? Well, and they avoided the question because obviously there isn't just one definition. And they said, well, it's as low as one can tolerate. And, it depends on the person, it depends on the context.
Yeah.
Ask the same question to you, even though
Yeah.
I pretty much know what you will say. Well, how would you
Yeah.
define what you say when, say, I'm your client, right? And what would you say to me if I'm kind of contemplating starting a ketogenic or low carb diet? Where would you
Right.
start me? If I'm obese and maybe type 2 diabetic. Yeah, let's make me type 2 diabetic and
Okay.
obese. Where would you
Okay.
start?
Okay. Well, number one, it's going to be hard to follow those two amazing individuals with their definition, but I concur. There is no one definition. But what I'm going to do is just as you mentioned and pointed out, I'm gonna ask these questions to find out who am I speaking to, because it's going to vary based on the individual. I'll always preface that carbohydrates are not essential, and I want everyone to hear that. We have three macronutrients. We have carbs, protein, and fat. Carbs and fat are energy sources, okay? And our body cannot make fatty acids. Our body cannot make amino acids. It can break down things in our body to come up with amino acids, but they can't be made from scratch. Protein is a building source. It can be an energy source, but that's not its primary goal. So carbs' primary goal is an energy source. That's it. It's what it is. But guess what? You can get energy from other things. So it's not necessary. And if you have type 2 diabetes and you are obese, you have severe insulin resistance. That means that your body does not tolerate carbohydrates. There is a carbohydrate toxicity. So for you, we need to get those carbohydrates as low as possible. And I always kind of throw out like a metaphor, and I say, okay, if you are allergic to milk, like peanuts, milk or peanuts, like you're allergic, it causes a reaction. Do you eat it? And they all, every time, they're like, no, absolutely not. Well, we're treating your body in the same way with carbohydrates right now. You are very sick. You are allergic, and I say, like, you are allergic to carbs at this moment in time. They're not good for you. They're making you sick. So we need to get those as low as possible. And I recommend if you want to try a short period of carnivore, that's going to be your lowest carb, but you can go up to 20 grams. I tell people keep it at least less than 30 grams. And we're not talking about net carbs. We're talking about total carbs for somebody that's diet. Now, in my situation, could probably count net carbs because I'm extremely active. My body fat is low and I'm very insulin sensitive. My insulin stays about 2.1. So it varies by the individual, but for that scenario, I'm going to say less than 30. Let's do less than 20 is even better. And we're going to primarily focus on, I like intermittent fasting. I'm a big fan of incorporating that as an amazing tool because it makes it easier when they do eat. And it takes the calorie counting out of it. I feel like it allows for meal 2 and 3, or actually meal 1 and 2, which would be their lunch and dinner, some more room, more wiggle room, and they can eat a little bit more food. But it gets insulin down faster. I feel like it gets you into ketosis faster if you can incorporate the fasting on top of the low carb. And then, like I said, I always throw in supplements to help. No, they're not a must, but they definitely help.
And intermittent fasting comes naturally if you are
Yes.
eating,
Yes.
if you eliminate the starches and bread and pasta and processed foods from your diet. If you're eating nutrient dense foods, even one meal. I mean, I was just doing one meal and I was fine with that for maybe 2 years, 2 full years. I did one meal and then I became perimenopausal, obviously, and I think I need 2 meals now. So,
But
but
see, what I love about what you just said is you didn't stick yourself in a little box. You listen to your body, and there are different variations, right? You're still very low carb, you're still intermittent fasting, but you're just doing it in a little different way, and it's what's working best for your body.
in fact, I was doing intermittent fasting before I even knew it was a thing. So I always tell my friends the last time I actually had a breakfast, like a morning
Yeah,
meal, was the year 1999. So it
I
was
love that.
literally 1999. Since 2000, I have not had a morning meal because I just don't feel like it in the
Yeah.
morning. So like
Yeah.
there are other things to do, better things.
It,
Get away with my
yeah.
time. So
Yeah.
Shannon, let's talk about the nutraceuticals that you use. So they're
Yeah.
not
Sure.
medications.
No.
Let's talk
Mm-mm.
about them because I think this is the
Yes.
Unis
Unicity. Yes.
Unicity product.
Yes.
I'll put their link below, and I have put their link under
Megan. Yeah. Megan
Megan
Hempel.
Temple's interview as well. So let's hear from Shannon as well what this product is and why it may be good for you. I mean, it could be good for you. So it's something
I,
good, especially I think for people who struggle with intermittent fasting, who have, even for people who have addictive
oh
nature
yeah.
certain foods, right?
Yep, yep. So Dr. Bikman, Dr. Ben Bikman is the medical advisor at Unicity. So when I learned that, I was like, whoa, okay, I automatically just respect them, and I don't even know what they are. But there are two parts to them. They come together, but there is a yerba mate concentrate.
Mhm.
It's called Unimate. And when we look at what makes that so beneficial, well, yerba mate contains a compound called chlorogenic acid. And Unicity has concentrated it down. So this is 375 times the amount of chlorogenic acid in a conventional mate. And so chlorogenic acid is a potent insulin sensitizer. Number one, it's an anti-carcinogenic and antioxidant and one of the most powerful anti-inflammatories I've ever seen. It gives you great energy, but not like jittery, like caffeine, and then you crash energy. It helps with brain fog and mood. It increases ketone production in a fasted state by 80%. And here's the reason it helps with intermittent fasting and with food addiction. I am like profoundly addicted to sugar, so I get it. But it increases our own endogenous GLP-1 by 60 to 70%. So it boosts our own production. It's not a mimetic like an Ozempic or a Wegovy or a Zepbound. It's working with our own production. So there's no side effects. There's no addictive properties to it. And you're not going to have the rebound effect that somebody may have coming off of the mimetics. And it does lower blood pressure. And then the second part is a fiber matrix. When I say that, people are like, "Oh gosh, fiber." I'm like, "No, it's 3 grams of fiber." So it's the diversity. And Dr. Lustig always talks about when you combine soluble and insoluble fiber, it forms an impenetrable membrane in the GI tract that slows down the absorption of carbohydrates. So this right here lowers glucose per Dr. Bikman in the study at BYU. We have, number one, all of these things are studied. There's over 24 clinical studies, and we're in the PDR. So there is validity to this, but it lowers glucose 34 to 37%. And if you look up metformin only lowers glucose 25 to 30%. So this is profound, but it increases fatty acid production in the gut, the short chain fatty acid from the microbes, right? It thickens up and it activates the stretch receptors, and it acts as a prebiotic. So this is where you get your big increase in HDL and your lowering of your triglycerides, plus the profound reduction in glucose. I have been on them myself for September will be 3 years. I've never felt better. I work out like a maniac. I don't ache anymore. My sugar addiction on a scale of 1 to 10, if it was a 10, it's probably a 4. Like I said, when I found these, I had already been low carb and fasting for 4 years, and it almost like it took it to another level. I use it as a pre-workout. Michelle, so it's unbelievable as far as what it does is it increases glutathione production and fatty acid oxidation. So Michelle, who's an ultra runner, she runs her ultras on this as one of her fuel sources. And she said her last ultra, she's run 8. She said this was the first time she's ever slept the night of after her race because she recovered that much quicker. So I've seen children use it. I've seen women with gestational diabetes. It's safe for women, children, nursing moms. It's just food. There's no interactions. There's no contraindications. It tastes phenomenal. It's easy to use. We're in 60 countries and everybody gets a money back guarantee. So I offer it to any of my clients is if somebody wants to throw in an extra tool to help them with that breaking up with carbs, that initial part, which is so hard for people where they struggle to get through when they're going through the detoxing and the withdrawal from the carbs and they're trying to start fasting. It's really a nice, support mechanism to throw in there.
And the price is actually not any more than what you would pay at Starbucks for your cup.
It's about $1.67 a pack. So yeah, it's very affordable. And for people in the US that have flexible spending accounts or healthcare savings with their insurance, this is covered under those FSA, HSA accounts.
Wonderful. Shannon, so when do you take these? So is it just one of each every day?
So I do 2 of these. I do one in the morning when I wake up. I'm sipping on one now. I do another one throughout the day, and then I do this fiber before my largest meal. But if somebody has type 2 diabetes, what you can change it up. You may do one in the morning to get you through your fasting period, and then you may do the pack of balance before your lunch and dinner. So you can change it up, either 2 of these and one of these, or there's no right or wrong. I just know that people that want to lose weight more, if weight is more of the focus, you do better with a couple more of the mates than the fiber. And then if you want to or trying to control your glucose, you might want to do the extra fiber and then the one mate. But I can help tailor that. You can order it either way. And the company's pretty amazing as far as, it ships around the world. And it's, I think one of your fellow colleagues, I don't know if you know Martin Gillespie in Scotland, but Martin's on it. If you know Roderick Lambert in the Czech Republic, they're now using this because of, seeing me on social media and incorporating it into their practice. And it's available around the world. I have people in Turkey. I have people in Canada. It's pretty amazing how you can look, we're around the world from each other and we were able to connect. So
Shannon, do they come in powder form? And so do they be diluted in water?
Yes. Yep. They're easy. I took them around. I traveled to Asia last year and they're easy to transport, but yeah, they're in little individual packs. They come in different flavors. I have different flavors here, but yeah, they're just, I have them everywhere. I have them in my purse, in my backpack, in my car, around my house, because there's anywhere you go, you can buy a water bottle. So instead of spending a lot of money at the airport, I fast and I drink my mate.
It'd be wonderful to try them for me, see their effect on my
thank you.
Diabetic sugars, because I don't know any type 1s who are on it. Do you?
Yes, we have some type 1s on it, and I'm so happy that you brought that up because I forgot to mention. So chlorogenic acid helps. So one of the reason people like diabetics utilize these GLP-1s is because of the effect on glucagon. And so GLP-1s suppress glucagon. Chlorogenic acid suppresses glucagon. So for people with type 1, they're seeing, we have quite a few people with type 1 utilizing the products, and they're using about 40 to 50% less insulin. Dr. Andrew Kudnick, if you know who he is, I just reached out to him and he's going to give it a try, and he's going to, give me his 2 cents because we know he will send it through the ringer. Dr. Nick Norwitz just, he's a big fan now. He uses it. He did his own research, and what's pretty profound is chlorogenic acid. He did a YouTube on it, so for people with atherosclerosis and plaque, these plaque communicate with the brain and can cause dementia. So the plaque communicates, they release exosomes, which communicate with the myoglobulia in the brain. And chlorogenic acid, which is in mate, activates something called an NRF2 pathway, which keeps that from happening. So it can help prevent dementia. It's profound. So yes, we're learning all about this amazing molecule called chlorogenic acid.
It's fascinating. Yeah, I'd certainly look that up. But for people who are watching this, all the links will be below, and Shannon's you have your personal link, right? To
Yes.
so yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I do. I have a discount link that gives
Discounting.
people about $76 off. Plus you'll have access to me. I offer my free coaching to anybody because I really just want them to get better. And I don't want to ask somebody to pay me and then purchase the supplements. I would rather them buy the tool and then I will help them for free. But we have an amazing community. We have a private Facebook group. We host weekly calls every Tuesday night with a clinical professional. Tonight we have an endocrinologist in Canada coming to talk all about blood sugar and insulin resistance. And then we have a live Q&A. So we really make it a point to provide community and support. And I myself offer my my help to you. But yeah, I just really want people to know that there are natural options, that pharmaceuticals aren't the only way. Just because it comes from a prescription pad doesn't mean it's the best way. And when you combine our lifestyle approach with this, the effects are unbelievable. It's more than I've ever seen in my 19-year career. I'm still get chill bumps seeing people transform. I think my biggest win was an A1C of 16.5 down to 5.
Whoa.
Utilizing that protocol.
Well, that's doable, people. That's a
Yes.
positive message. And I'm going to wrap this up with that very positive message. An A1C of 16 down to 5 with Shannon Davis's protocol of exercise, low carb diet, and some of these
Yeah.
help me out.
Nutraceuticals. Nutraceuticals. Yeah.
We don't always hear that. So, okay. So, Shannon, thank you so much for your time today. I actually do want to bring you back with
Absolutely.
Michelle. Wouldn't that be fun? So,
Oh, I'd love it. We would have a good time.
Can have a conversation. It's been a while since I've talked to Michelle, so it'd be wonderful to have her back and you again, because there's always so much more to talk about.
It's my pleasure. I'm so honored to be a part of this. I followed you for so many years and it's unbelievable what you've done and just kudos to you for speaking on this when it wasn't cool. It's starting to become a little more cool, but even when it wasn't, and as somebody that's lived your whole life with, diabetes as a type 1 that didn't have the choice, right? Just telling people that even if you don't have the choice, there is still things that you can do about it. And it will extend your lifespan and truly save your life.
Beautiful message. Thank you once again. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.